Hello and welcome back. My name is Aniruddha. The painting I'm going to be doing today was something that I started on location, but the weather suddenly got too hot for me to complete my sketch then and there. So I took a few good photographs and decided to paint this scene once again at my desk. The forest here is of a dry deciduous type. It's spring season, and most of the leaves from the trees have fallen, and soon new ones will begin to sprout. It's usually dry during this time of the year, although on this particular morning, there were a few intense showers of rain. Most of the elements in this scene are of the organic variety. Therefore, I don't want to be too precise with my line work. I want to pay more attention to getting the right texture. The superstar in this scene is that white tree on the right. This tree is called a ghost tree. Notice how for the trees as well, I haven't drawn two lines to uh, encapsulate space. The trees are demarcated with a single line, and the white ghost tree, I have covered that line with some masking fluid because I want to maintain it as a white shape. The ghost tree gets its name not just because of its white color, but also because they say that it glows in the moonlight. I can imagine that being a scary sight if I am walking through this forest at night. These trees can get a lot larger than this one, so much so that I often use them as landmarks on a trail. Another rather interesting thing I learned about a ghost tree on this particular day is that do not touch its seeds. I did not know this. While hiking through the forest, I picked up this interesting looking cluster of seeds right under the ghost tree. These seeds are covered with what I can only describe as slender, almost invisible hair. And as soon as I put it up, they just dove into my skin, leaving a very itchy sensation. The itch only subsided when I washed my hand with water. This first layer was me simply putting down the paint as I can see in the reference photo. You can call this the color of the light. As I moved towards the foreground, I made sure to use stronger and darker color and also warm the color up a little bit, thus creating a sense of depth. Before this first layer is dry, I am now going to add another layer of paint wet in wet. This can be described as the mid-tone. I will cover the area from the treetops in the background all the way to the foreground in this mid-tone value. At the moment, I'm using both my round brush and my flat brush. This paper is such that it dries rather quickly, which means it is anyway difficult to get a smooth, even wash. I'm going to use this fact to my advantage, as in this particular instance, I want a uneven wash and a sense of texture. To add further texture, you can even use a old damaged brush that you may have lying around. I'm now adding strength to those stones which are demarcating the trail. And in hindsight, I feel that I have gone a little too dark in this area. I now quickly turn my attention back to giving a feel of verticality and direction to the scene. And then I will proceed to pull out some branches sticking over the dried canopy. I'm hoping that the background sky wash is still a little moist, and these branches that I pull out will fuzz a little bit into the background. Hence, I'm going to start with the ones which are the most further back. I don't quite know what that dark area there is, but it doesn't really matter. It is still adding a sense of structure and direction to this scene. So I'm just going to put it in. The large washes in this painting are now done. I can wait for the paint on the page to dry, remove the masking fluid, and then add some of the darker details. I am now going to use my Fude nib pen for those stones. Maybe even indicate a little bit of shadow. The trick here is to do it in one continuous line without actually lifting your pen up from the paper. Not too much use for a ink pen in a scene as organic as this. Only other place I'm going to use it is for that darker tree to the left. On the tree to the left, I had initially blocked out the parts being hit by sunlight by applying some masking fluid. Now that the masking fluid is off, I want to cover those parts with a bit of yellowish paint. This tree is further ahead, closer to me than the ghost tree, and is also not as pale. I'm hoping that by exaggerating how dark it is, the white nature of the ghost tree will be highlighted even more. Even within the ghost tree itself, there is variation of light and color. I now want to demarcate the shadowy part of the ghost tree. To do so, I am using this dirty purple paint. I think that's the only way I can describe it. And covering the areas of that tree which are not being hit by light, which are darker, as we can see in the reference image. All the trees in the scene have a lot of these tiny twigs sticking out at the top end, and it's quite obvious that it's impossible to represent each one of those, so it's best to just use the side of the brush and add a little dry brush texture sometimes. My paper is smooth, but if I had a rougher paper, I would have had more success in doing that dry brush for indicating those twigs. I'm strengthening some of those shadows that the trail stones are casting, occasionally using my finger to smudge a shadow or two. I want the stronger shadows to be in the foreground. The last element in the composition I need to add is that shadow in the foreground being cast by another tree which is not visible in the frame. So I've mixed up a different dirty purple and I'm quickly adding it to my scene. Here's why I wished I'd done those stones a little lighter, because it's a little difficult to see the how the shadow is changing form as it passes from the stones to the trail. Thus concludes another quick watercolor demo. Don't forget to do all the YouTube things like subscribe, click the notification bell. Also, if you're looking for longer full length tutorials, you can also check out my Skillshare page. Link to it is there in the description below. Thank you for joining me. I hope I can see you in the next demo as well. If you have any suggestions on what you would like to see me paint in the future, you can leave that in a comment below.